The winter lights of downtown Toronto shimmered through the tall windows of Maison du Nord, a restaurant so exclusive even the waiters spoke in whispers. At table 7 sat Alexander Pierce, the billionaire owner, dressed in a charcoal suit and silent as a shadow. Moments earlier, he had left a thick stack of $100 bills beside his glass of wine, then closed his eyes, head tilting as if he'd drifted to sleep. Across the room, Emma Collins, the newest waitress, felt her chest tighten. Guests were glancing at the money. The staff stood frozen. She could almost hear her manager's warning. Never touch his table. Ever. But watching that cash out in the open made her stomach twist. She hesitated, then stepped forward. Her fingers hovered inches from the table when his voice cut through the air like glass. "Stealing from me already, Miss Collins." Every sound in the restaurant vanished. Emma's hand trembled, caught between instinct and terror, realizing too late. He hadn't been asleep at all. Speech balloon. If you believe every choice has consequences, subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales and stay for what happens next. Under the frozen glow of Toronto's evening skyline, the air inside Maison du Nord turned heavy with silence. The sound of glassware and quiet conversation faded as all eyes drifted toward Emma Collins, standing rigid beside Alexander Pierce's table. His voice had cut through the room like a blade, low and sharp. "Stealing from me already, Miss Collins." Her fingers trembled inches from the untouched money clip. The accusation hung there, cruel, deliberate. Emma's breath caught as the billionaire opened his eyes fully. They weren't sleepy at all. They were cold, assessing, as if she were a line item on one of his ledgers. "Sir, I wasn't," she began. He stood, his chair scraping against the marble floor, the movement precise, commanding. "Put down." Emma placed the money clip back onto the table with both hands, every nerve screaming humiliation. The other waiters turned away, pretending not to see, but their silence was worse than stares. She whispered, "Someone could have taken it. I was trying to protect." "Protect me?" His tone turned icy. "You've worked here 2 weeks, and you presume to protect me?" The laughter from a nearby couple, wealthy regulars who thrived on scandal, cut through her shame. Her cheeks burned. "I wasn't stealing," she said again, louder this time. "I was doing what any decent person would." Alexander leaned in close enough for only her to hear. "In this world, Miss Collins, decency is a liability." The sentence struck like a verdict. She was fired before the night ended. No chance to explain, no chance to breathe. He called security with the same calm he might use to order dessert. As she stood outside the restaurant in the snow, apron folded in her hands, she watched the glowing windows above where laughter continued without her. The next morning, Emma sat in a coffee shop near Yonge Street, her phone on the table, unread messages from her roommate blinking on screen. She had $40 left and rent due in a week. The injustice replayed in her mind, looping between anger and disbelief. A voice broke through her thoughts. "You, the girl from Maison du Nord?" Emma looked up. It was Diane, another server from the restaurant. Older, tougher, someone who'd seen the system chew people up. She slid into the chair across from her without asking. "I heard what he did. Pierce likes control. He sets people up just to see how they'll react." Emma frowned. "You're saying he planned that?" "Every week he tests someone. Last month it was a busboy. Kid picked up a dropped napkin before Pierce finished his meal. Gone by morning. He calls it a loyalty check." Diane stirred her coffee, bitterness in her voice. "He wants fear, not loyalty." Something shifted inside Emma then. Not just hurt but resolve. Then he's going to learn what fear feels like. 3 days later, Maison du Nord buzzed with its usual perfection. Alexander was in his corner, surrounded by executives from his investment firm. He didn't notice the young woman in a gray coat enter quietly through the side door, her ID badge flashing just long enough for the hostess to wave her through. Emma had come prepared. Months of customer service work had taught her that the most powerful people rarely looked at the ones serving them. She moved behind the bar, steady, confident, as though she still belonged there. Maria, the head bartender and one of the few who'd ever shown Emma kindness, whispered, "You can't be here." "I just need 5 minutes," Emma said, slipping a small black USB drive from her pocket. "Then I'll never come back." Her eyes flicked toward the far wall, toward the framed CCTV monitor where every table, every server, every guest was recorded. Alexander's test hadn't just humiliated her. It had been caught on video. She inserted the drive, copying the files before Maria could protest. "If he thinks he can destroy people without consequences," she whispered, "he's about to learn who he underestimated." The footage spread faster than Emma could have imagined. Within 24 hours, social media lit up with headlines. "Billionaire's cruel test backfires. Waitress fired for protecting his money." Clips of Alexander's icy confrontation flooded TikTok, news outlets, and talk shows. The public loved to see power fall. But Emma didn't celebrate. Not yet. She knew the storm would bring him to her door, and it did. 3 days later, a black car pulled up outside the same coffee shop. Alexander stepped out, immaculate as ever, but the arrogance in his walk was gone. He approached her table with something resembling humility. "Miss Collins," he began quietly, "you've made your point." "My point?" She leaned back, arms crossed. "You humiliated me in front of your staff and ruined my career. You turned decency into a test. That wasn't a point, it was my life. I've received death threats. Investors are pulling out. You need to understand." "No," Emma interrupted. "You need to understand. You built an empire by teaching people fear. Now you're afraid. That's justice." For a moment Alexander said nothing. Then he reached into his coat and slid an envelope across the table. "A settlement," he said. "Enough to make this disappear." Emma didn't touch it. "I don't want your money. I want an apology. Publicly. To everyone you've ever tested." His jaw tightened. "You're asking me to destroy my reputation. You already did that yourself." The next week, a press conference filled the ballroom of the Fairmont Royal York. Cameras flashed as Alexander stepped to the podium, face pale under the lights. Emma watched from the back of the room, her heart pounding. He cleared his throat. "Last week I made a mistake. I fired an employee for showing integrity. I created an environment built on fear rather than trust. That ends today." Reporters shouted questions. Alexander raised a hand. "Effective immediately. All employees previously dismissed from my restaurants will be reinstated with full pay. And I am stepping down from daily management." The crowd erupted. Emma felt tears sting her eyes, not from pity, but from the strange relief of seeing power finally bend. Weeks later, Emma walked into a new restaurant, not as a server but as the assistant manager. The owner, a kind-hearted chef named Luc Bouchard, had seen her story online and offered her a chance. "You've got something most people in this business lose early," Luc said. "A conscience." The night of her first shift, a group of young servers gathered nervously around her. One dropped a tray, glass shattering across the floor. The sound echoed painfully familiar. Everyone froze, waiting for the punishment. Emma knelt beside the girl, helping pick up the pieces. "It's just glass," she said gently. "We all make mistakes. What matters is how we fix them." The staff exhaled. The restaurant's hum returned. Outside, snow began to fall again, the same kind of snow that had swallowed her the night she was fired. But now it didn't feel cold. It felt earned. 1 month later, Alexander Pierce appeared again. Not in a limousine, not in an Armani suit, but standing humbly outside her restaurant in a winter coat. He waited for her to finish her shift, watching her guide her team with quiet confidence. When she finally stepped outside, their eyes met. "You really did it," he said softly. "You built what I never could, a place where people belong." Emma nodded, her voice calm. "Because I learned what it feels like not to." He looked down, regret softening his expression. "I came to thank you. Losing everything showed me who I'd become." Then make it mean something, she said. Build better. Treat people better. He extended a hand. May I come in? As a customer. Emma hesitated, then smiled faintly. As long as you pay first. They both laughed. Quietly, genuinely. It wasn't reconciliation. It was accountability. That night, the restaurant filled with warmth, laughter, and the sound of real connection, the kind Alexander once claimed didn't exist. From her place behind the counter, Emma watched her staff working together. No fear, no tests, only trust. Outside, snow drifted across the streetlights as if erasing the past. And somewhere deep inside, Emma finally let go of the bitterness that had once defined her. Justice hadn't come from revenge. It had come from change. Still, as the last table cleared and the lights dimmed, she caught sight of Alexander paying his bill, leaving a single note beside his receipt. Thank you for teaching me what integrity looks like. And beside it, an envelope containing a check, not for her, but a donation to a hospitality scholarship in her name. Emma smiled quietly, turned off the lights, and locked the door behind her. The city was cold, but her heart was steady. She had lost everything once, but in that loss she had found what truly mattered. Dignity, purpose, and the power to make even the cruelest man face the truth. Months later, the snow had melted from Toronto's streets, but the memory of that night inside Maison du Nord never left Emma Collins. She no longer carried the fear of losing everything. Instead, she carried proof that truth, once spoken aloud, can change even the coldest heart. Alexander Pierce had rebuilt his empire with humility, hiring fairly, mentoring the very people he once tested. And Emma, now leading her own restaurant, ran it the opposite way. No games, no fear, only trust. One evening, a young server spilled a tray in front of a full dining room. The room went silent, just like that night long ago. Emma walked over, smiled, and said, "We learn, we move on." The crowd exhaled. That simple grace, the kind she once begged for, had become her power. Outside, the city lights shimmered on wet pavement, reflections of every choice that had brought her here. Justice hadn't come from revenge. It came from refusing to become what tried to break her. Glowing star, if stories like this move you, help us share more real tales of courage and redemption. Like, share, and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales.